Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to invite Dr. Julian Adams to deliver the convocation address. Dr. Adams.
Quel grand honneur. Actually, I never thought I would get this close to the Montreal Canadian Centre Ice. This may be the pinnacle of my career, actually. I'm most honored and humbled to have this honorary degree conferred upon me. As an undergraduate of the class of '77 in the chemistry department, my roots at McGill are deep and have been cultivated throughout my ensuing and still active career. It is perhaps fitting that I fill in some biographical notes in this address. We've already heard a few of those from Dean Grant, but I want to maybe personalize it a little more. As a kid, I was always drawn to the sciences, having been fed a steady diet of biographies of luminaries such as Edison, Pasteur, and Curie by my mother, whose own tenure at McGill was but 1 year at the age of 18 when she met my father and left her studies. By the way, she was a chemistry student. Nature or nurture? That's the question. I guess I had both inputs and proclivities, but that merely set the stage. The quality of a McGill education is first-rate, but that still does not tell the full story about how I became a practicing scientist. As with many careers, there is often a defining moment in life which grabs one's imagination. That moment occurred in Leacock, room 132. I'm sure you know it well, when I took Introduction to Organic Chemistry, taught by a young and endlessly energetic Professor David Harp. He made the subject come to life, not only through his brilliant lecturing style and innovative use of an avant-garde slideshow presentation in which he made molecules dance on the screen, but also through his personal vitality and sheer excitement for the principles of chemistry. For all I know, he could have taught the Romantic poets, and I would have been smitten anyway. But this teacher, this scholar, this man, and as my people say, this mensch, changed my life. I knew then that I would devote myself to the laboratory and explore the wonders of chemistry. The rest of my undergraduate focus was to take every organic chemistry course, the bane of all pre-med students, including entering the laboratory where chemistry came alive. In my senior year, Professor Harp took me in as a senior research associate, whereby I conducted original research into the unknown and published my very first paper under his guidance. But I didn't have a master plan. I expected to continue with graduate studies at McGill, but in another watershed moment, during a talk with Dave, we speculated about the possibility of going outside my comfort zone and at least look at other graduate programs. Dave selflessly validated my ability to remain at McGill or to go anywhere and still be successful. So as a young man of 22, I went off to MIT, terrified that I did not belong there. And this was the theme throughout my entire career. Whenever I saw myself getting too comfortable or at the conclusion of an important stanza of my work, it was time to reinvent myself and seek a new challenge. I have had other teachers and mentors, both in the academy and in industry, where I have now worked for 30 years. I have witnessed the advances in chemistry, molecular biology, and medicine with the same curiosity that my mother imparted to me. An important turning point in my training led me to want to tackle big problems in human health. With the foundation that I had at McGill and surviving graduate school, I became fearless to adopt new disciplines, and as a newly independent researcher, I often had to teach myself new subjects in science, medicine, and business, on-the-job training to address such problems as allergic asthma while as a young industry scientist at Merck Frost Labs here in Montreal, or HIV infection at Boehringer Ingelheim when I led a team to study this devastating virus. And in the mid-90s, I became focused on cancer research and new theories which forced me to understand the pathogenesis of how the body's cells go awry. This has been my passion and mission, and with some success developed and continue to develop new therapies to treat lethal malignancies. But there's an underlying message and theme that I would like to share with my family and friends and colleagues today. One's education as a young person is often shaped by happenstance, and sometimes good fortune of being at the right place at the right time. Louis Pasteur said it best: chance favors only the prepared mind, meaning luck is certainly a factor, but other elements such as a curious nature and a great teacher are all elements of new discoveries. McGill and Professors Harp, Just, Chan, Ogilvy, Belleau, Edward, Hogan, Perlin, Harrod, Butler, Eisenberg, Whitehead, Cave, and Fresco. And if I left anybody's name out, it's because I did very poorly in that class. They were all co-conspirators in my foundational education. Yes, I took English, philosophy, maths, and physics, but 35 years ago, these teachers sent me into the world as a curious and unrelenting researcher. Looking for scientific truths has been my mission in life. One doesn't get to do this without a tremendous support system whereby my family encouraged me on my path. My first wife, Fran, and our 3 daughters put up with my incomprehensible dedication to my work. My guests here today include my father, Marcel, my brother, Sylvan, and others of my favorite family members. And my wife, Patty, who sustains my passion. Thank you, family, for your love and support. And thank you all.